What's up, my beautiful people? Dilo here from Rain Coating Armors, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video will be on FTE 217 week 7 assignment. All right, today's date is March 23rd, 2025. For starters, I want to show that the firearm is clear. There is no live ammunition in my workspace or around it. Boom. Boom. Check the pinky. Boom. All right. So for part one of this video, I will be answering just a few questions and going over some of the specs of the build and something I've analyzed with it. Right. Trigger work. Let's see. When is trigger work actually necessary to be performed, right? When should it not be performed? So trigger work, to be fair, is necessary if your trigger is not properly working, if there's hiccups with it, if you are having issues with the pins walking out on you from shooting, anything like that, or just if you actually want to advance your trigger, if you want to lessen it, like the specifications of like the pressure of the pounds when you're pulling on the trigger, depending on what you may need your rifle for, right? What you may need that AR for. If it's for hunting purposes, you may want to have a specific pressure on the trigger group, for when you're pulling on it, right? Something else, let's see. Honestly, like for me, I'm okay with basic stuff. I only would add like something like binary, like I've mentioned before, just because I'd want to like have fun with it. But other than that, I'm not going to use an AR to go hunting. That's just me personally. Question two in this part one session will be discussing problems that can occur when improper trigger work has been performed. So something that is an issue that can happen is, again, like I mentioned, you can be shooting if certain loads, certain grainage, things like that, and maybe you start having your pins walk out on you, and then the trigger stops working. Trigger stops working, gun stops working, right? So that's an issue that can occur. Failure to fire like the trigger prop, the sear misalignment with the disconnector and the hammer. Any misalignment in there can occur if these pins are not in there, so that causes the gun to no longer work at that point to fix that. So that's a big issue that can happen. I've seen people use walk pin like screws. I have not had to use any of those. Thank God I haven't had any issues with my AR. So not even this one that I built. So I haven't used any of those, but they seem pretty cool. More of an aesthetic look when you can get them like all colorful and stuff like that. Let's see. Question number three. We discuss what constitutes improper trigger work and how it can be avoided. Improper trigger work is not having proper tools, not having proper alignment with the components, and understanding the actual platform that you're working on. If you're working on an AR, you should understand whether it be from you working on it since being a kid, or working it your whole life, or actually having some type of formal education on courses. The platform, I would say, has a lot of different features that you can learn from taking individualized lessons on learning them. But the AR, it's pretty much the adult Lego. You can plug and play a lot of stuff, although some specs may be preferred over others depending on the components and where along the rifle you're talking about maintaining. Comes to trigger group, you want all the pins in working order, and not having that is a bad day, right? Like not having the springs properly aligned, the hammer, the disconnector, all of that stuff properly aligned with the pins so that the pins fit flush. You might have an issue that day on that rifle, so just be aware of that. All right, so let's move on to part two. What I want to look for on this is any looseness. Anything loose I don't want to have, right? So I want to make sure that my pins are all in tight, my magazine release is working, my bolt catch is properly working. My charging handle is working. Bolt catch is working, like I said before, right? Forward assist is working. That, I mean, no big deal. If you haven't used this, you haven't dented it in properly, then this can come loose, so make sure you do that. Unless you plan on making changes to it, then that's up to you. Even if you plan on making changes to it, you can still get it off, but you know, just for extra measure of safety, because there's buffers in there, stuff like that. Muzzle device is properly aligned and you know, not loose. It's just tightened to spec. You know, you use a torque wrench for that kind of stuff. Again, a magazine release, you can use a magazine, empty one with snap caps, however you may see fit, to load it, rack it, make sure that it's seating right, everything is seating right. If when you build it, you obviously use your go and no-go gauges to test it, but you know, you want to, if you need to do that again, because you haven't shot it in a while or whatever, you put it away after you build it, then you can go ahead and do that to test it out. And lastly, I will honestly take it out to the range, live fire, test. Part 3. Let's check on the safety systems. Taking it apart there. Let's place that to the side. So, the safety system's in there. As you can see, it's working. Flips forward, back. So the way that's working is basically, if I move it this way, it is creating a space where the trigger disconnector is. So that way I can pull the trigger, the disconnector is gonna release, and the hammer will come forward, as so. See that? Hammer comes forward. If there's an upper and a round in there, the whole thing goes bang. Right? What else we got? So I'm looking to make sure that that's working properly, honestly. Making sure that there's nothing loose in here. Like when I pull the trigger, there's nothing loose in there. Right? Everything is moving when I press the trigger. Whatever needs to move, like the disconnector, for example, is moving. Hammer is being released, that's moving. Right? So I'm looking for that kind of stuff in there. Part 4. What is the easiest and the most difficult part of making repairs and alterations to the AR platform? Let's see. I'd say, let's start with the hardest. The hardest would probably be, you know, replacing a muzzle device or replacing the entire barrel. Replacing the barrel will probably be something difficult, just because you need your specific tools for it. If you're somebody who buys an AR, it doesn't have the proper tools to build them, or the education behind it on how to build them, then it may be a long day, right? So easiest, I would say, would probably be, you know, it depends. Honestly, it depends, right? Like if you have Picatinny, if you have M-Lock, if you have Keymod, you can add so many different accessories to it. You can always add single stage, double stage. You can add binary triggers, get bomb stocks, all that good stuff. If it's fun, why not try it, right? Legally, if it's fun legally, right? You can do things like that. Have cool friends and have them laser engrave your logo on your firearms. You can Cerakote, you can stipple, you can, there's so many different updates you can do to it, AR-15 platform. So, you know, you can experiment with multiple types, and then you can different price ranges for all these options. So, you know, so yeah, guys, that is week 7's assignment. And thank you guys for watching. Happy shooting, and see you soon. Peace.